Hey, what's up everyone and welcome to Daily Code Buffer. In this video, we are going to learn about the MCP, that is the Model Context Protocol. Now, what is Model Context Protocol and why there is too much hype about it? We need to understand that first and why that exists. Now, earlier when we have built different applications using the Spring AI, what we have seen is that there are different models available and those different models are been up to date till that particular time. Now if I want to get some latest information that LLM model does not have. So what we do around that is we build different functions or different RAG models and all sorts of things to make sure that that particular LLM model has the latest context about it, latest functions and tools about it to execute some task, and it can understand those things, give those inputs to the LLM model, and we can get the output. The classic example is about the weather, right? LLM model does not know about the today's weather. So what we build around is we build different functions, and different LLM models has the different LLM functions, how they call it, right? So if I talk about OpenAI, Gemini, Claude, different LLM models will have the different ways to execute those functions to fetch the data. So if the weather is not available, the data about the weather is not available, what I do is I build an API, and as a function that LLM model can call that function to get me the today's weather. And all the different model will have its own implementation. And on top of that, we have also seen different AI agents and everything which can be built on top of it. So how the different AI agents and everything work, that also would be different based on how the different models are configured. So what Claude did is Claude identified this problem and introduced a protocol that simplifies these things. So let's understand that what is happening. So let's understand the MCP. So what happens is that we have the LLM model available. So we have the LLM model available, and this LLM model can talk to bunch of different things. So suppose this is OpenAI's model, okay, and I want to have the weather information. So what I have to do is I suppose I have created a weather service. Okay, so let me just create a weather service as well. So now this is a weather service that I have created. Now I want to integrate this with my OpenAI's model as well and Gemini's model as well. So technically what I could do is I could connect my OpenAI to this weather model, and I could connect this Gemini to my weather model as well. Now directly connecting to my weather API will not be able to work. I need to have the different implementation of weather API to connect to my LLM model for OpenAPI and Gemini. If I have multiple like Claude and different models, DeepSeek, I need to have the different implementation of weather API so everyone can connect to it. So now what Claude did is Claude implemented a model context protocol. So that means it's a protocol, or it's a standardized format that every model can use. Consider it's like a USB protocol, right? So USB is a standardized protocol identified and developed, and all the different types of devices works on that particular USB protocol and identifies itself as either it's a pen drive or a hard drive or a microphone or a tablet, whatever it is, right? So how it connects to different devices is standardized, and what it does as a functionality is different. So here MCP stands for the same thing. It gives us the protocol a standardized way to connect to the different LLM models, but what you do with it completely depends on what you want to build. So let's understand the architecture of the model context protocol and how it works. So model context protocol works on three different things. It has host, that is the first thing. It has client, and it has servers. So it works on three different attributes, actors, that it will be having a host, clients, and servers. Now how this all interacts, let's understand that. So let me just create a, okay, so consider this is your host. Okay, host maybe consider this is a platform where you can connect your clients and servers. So there are different hosts available which MCP has identified, and all the different hosts will continue adding to this list as well. Currently supported is Claude desktop application. Okay, this is one of the hosts. Now on this particular host there will be different clients available. Okay, so consider these are clients Okay, your desktop application is so anything running on your desktop application to call the LLM model, that will be your client. Now on top of this, you would be having the different servers. So consider you have server 1, server 2, server 3. Okay, so you have server 1, server 2, server 3. These are the different MCP servers. Okay, now MCP servers will be your external entity which will provide the functionality. Suppose server 1 gives the weather functionality, and it can fetch the weather for any of the things. Suppose server 2 can fetch the file system data. Okay, like what are the different files available within your system, that information if you want, server 2 provides that information. Suppose server 3 provides Docker information, like what are the different Docker images and all those things. If those kind of things you want to do, server 3 can provide those information. Now, so let me just put it that way, that server 1 will be connecting to, suppose, weather API, right? Server will connect to weather API. Server 2 will connect to file system. So suppose file system is anything, but your server 2 will abstract everything and it will provide a standardized way to connect to your LLM model. So it can be any LLM model, until and unless it's using the MCP, it can connect to it. Okay, and suppose S3 is having a Docker functionality, it is connecting to Docker. Now if you have different LLM models, you do not have to directly connect to weather API, file system or Docker. You can directly connect to this particular servers available. So your clients will directly connect to this. Your clients will directly connect to these things. So you do not have to worry about their implementation itself. Okay, so now how this host, clients and servers interact. Now what are the functionalities that this servers and clients provides that we can understand, so how this interact internally. So as we have two different things, a client and a server. Server provides three different things: prompts, resource and tools. And client provides two different things, provides routes and sampling. Okay, let's talk about the server. So now server provides three different things, that is a prompt. So that means that server will give a prompt that can be executed against the LLM model. So suppose if you are asking about, okay, give me the file system data. So if you want to have the data about your file system, you need to tell something about your file system to gather some data to the LLM model as well as a prompt. So if you want to provide any prompts functionality to execute on the LLM model, you can have that particular prompt defined and that prompt can be executed by your clients as well. Suppose if you want to provide resources, like what all resources you can access, okay, that information also can be defined and your client can use those resources to execute something. And the main thing is tools. So if you're defining some tools, so currently LLM model cannot execute tasks, right? That's the base about it. So they can generate some data for you like text, images and everything, but it cannot perform some task for you. So if you want some task to be performed, for that you can define some tools. So suppose if I just ask the LLM model that give me the list of files available in my downloads folder. So that means that's a task that LLM model needs to perform, that go to each and every file and get the count of each and every file for me. So that means for that you are defining a tool, that this tool program will do that operation for me and LLM model will execute that tool. So if you have such kind of tools, then those tools can be performed and defined in this server tool section. That similar way we can define resources and prompts as well. Great. The next thing is in the clients we have routes. Now routes define that what particular access you will be having. Okay, so what you should access to, that will be defined by the routes. And the next is the samplings. So what information you would require, what access you would require. So that permission handling will be done by your sampling. So suppose if you have defined the tools to perform the file system operation, so when that tool is defined and when that tool needs to be executed, then the sampling request has to be done by the server to the client to the LLM model. So in that sampling request, this sampling request will be executed, which will say that this tool section needs to have the permission of the file system to do some task. So that will be handled by your sampling. So these are the 5 things across clients and server that will allow us to do some operations. Okay, so we talked about clients and servers. So either you can define or develop clients, or either you can work on the servers. Whatever you want, you can build those two functionalities. Okay, so MCP provides you to work on two different things, either a client or a server. So it works as a client server architecture. So these are the features that you can provide as a part of your server and the client application. So this all things works together as this particular system, as a host, as a client and server, to have a universal contract between this everything. Now how internally MCP works, right? So MCP internally works on the principle, or the protocol is JSON RPC. So it's a remote procedure calls, JSON remote procedure call to do all such kind of operations on the TCP layer. Okay, so this is the entire architecture, how the MCP works and what are the different components it includes in the MCP. Now suppose how we can use it, right? So to use it, what we need a host, client and server. Okay, so let's define one of the application what I want to do. So what I want to do is, currently suppose I have Claude installed in my system, Claude desktop app. Now if I ask Claude that, okay, give me the list of Docker images available in my local system, then probably it will not understand, because it does not know how to connect to my Docker, install in my machine and get the list of images available, because Claude cannot perform task, LLM model cannot perform task, right? So what it can do is, it can just give me instruction that, okay, if you want to get some Docker images, you can execute this command to get the images for you. That it can do, it can generate the text for you. But what I need is, I want Claude to do that information for me. So as I have the host and client, right, Claude desktop application, okay, what I will do is, I need to have the server. So what I'll do is, I will use the Docker server built on the MCP. So there are different servers available by default from Claude or community itself that you can use. If you want to build yourself, we are going to create a separate video for that as well, how you can create your MCP servers and use it. But suppose there is a Docker server available on MCP that allows me to do some operation on Docker. So that is something that I want to use, and I will connect to this with my Claude. Okay, so this server now is connected to my host, and that host is running the client, that is my LLM model. So now what will happen is, when I do some request, when I will do some request to LLM model, what will happen is, this client will get the list of servers available. So client, before sending the request, it will take the list of servers available. So it will know that, okay, these are the servers available, and all these servers have these different resources, different prompts, different tools available. All this information it will collect and it will send to the client, to the host. Okay. Now if I say that, okay, I want to list the Docker images, okay, LLM to LLM model. Now when I'm executing this particular prompt, LLM model will understand that, okay, you are trying to execute this Docker. Now you are trying to execute this particular prompt which you want as a list of Docker images. I cannot do this, but whatever the request that you have sent, in that you have one server available, that is a Docker server, and it has different tools available. Now within those tools, there is one tool that can list the Docker images. So then LLM model will tell that, okay, user wants to do this operation, and to do that operation, this is the tool available as a part of this Docker server. And then client will take that information and send the request to the Docker server to get the tool information, and then it will execute. Okay, so this is how the entire process will work. So let's see that in action as well. So what we will do is, we will go to our Claude desktop. Okay, so here you can see that this is the Claude desktop that I have installed. Okay, and what I have done is, I have done the simple thing. I just tried to ask a question that, how many Docker images are there in my local system? Okay, I can ask the question again as well. I can ask it again. Let me just start a new thread and let me just ask this question, and it will try to understand that, okay, it can't directly check your local Docker, but it knows that what are the commands to do that. So it is telling that these are the commands, you can execute these commands. Great, but I want LLM model to execute everything. So now what I have to do is, I have to integrate. Okay, so what I'll do is, I will go to MCP. I'll just search for MCP and it will take you to this model context protocol introduction. Go to this and you will get all the information about each and everything. What is the architecture and what are the different components within this system and everything. And here you can see, if you go down, you will understand core architecture and everything. You can go through this as well. And these are the different SDKs also available. So if you want to build your servers and clients, you can use this SDKs to build as well. We are going to do the follow-up videos as well to understand more on the Java SDK as well. Now let's go to the server. Okay, so let's go to the example servers. You can have the example clients as well. So let me go to the servers. Now you can see that if you go to the servers, these are the different servers available by default and by the community as well. So if you want to work with a file system, you can use this file system. If you want to work with the PostgreSQL, if you want to do some queries on directly your database, you can do that as well. If you want to access your Google Drive, you can do that as well. So you can see there are a bunch of different servers available. Okay. One of the servers that I'm interested currently is the Docker one. Okay, it's a community version. You can see that it can help you to manage containers, images, volumes, and networks. So let me just open this Docker one, and you can see this is a MCP server, Docker server. And here you can see that this is a bunch of different instructions on how to use it. So by default, what you can do is you can build this within your local system and you can use it as well, or you can use using the Python, NPM, Node, Java, whatever the connector you want to use. Okay, so as we have gone here, these are the different SDKs. Based on different SDKs you can use. So MCP currently is built on the Python SDK. Okay, so if you scroll down here, you can see these are the different tools available, right? Different tools available, and how we can use all those informations are there. So what I'll do is I will go to install from PyPy or UV. Okay, so you can see that this is what it's trying to do. So you need to get this particular information. Okay, this is the information that you need to configure. That you have the MCP server. What is MCP server? MCP server is MCP server Docker. That's the name of this server, and it is executing a command that is UVX, and this is the argument. So that means it is executing this MCP server Docker. So I need to take this and I need to just make sure that I have installed UV in my system. Okay, you can just follow this link to install it, and it's very easy to install as well. And it says that if you're using a cloud desktop app, this is where you can do the configuration for this. Okay, so what I will do is I will go to this particular directory, create this cloud desktop config file, and add this configuration so that my cloud desktop app knows that I have some MCP server available. So let's go to terminal and let's go to this, and here you can see that I have just created this cloud desktop config JSON, but if you do not have, you can create that as well. Okay, so what I will do is I will go to this file here and I will modify it. Currently you can see that it is empty, so let me just add the information here. So what I will do is I will just copy this, and what I will do is it has to be part of okay. So within this parenthesis I have just added the MCP server. So if you have multiple MCP servers, we can add multiple MCP servers as well. This is one of the one that I wanted to add, that this is the MCP server Docker. That's it. I will just save this. Okay, now what I will do is I will just close the cloud and I will just start it again. Okay, now it is started again, and now here you can see that we have a connector available. Okay, you can see that attached from MCP. So now if I see here, you can see that we have different MCP servers available. So if you see here, you can see that Docker server is installed. This is what we directly installed here. Okay, and if you see, this is the Docker Compose and everything, whatever the functionality has been provided by the MCP Docker server, everything will be able to see here. And if there are different tools available, right, all those different tools we can see here, that whatever this MCP Docker server we install, it has this bunch of tools available, and we can do all such operations here. So now if I ask the same question again, that list down the Docker images in my local. Okay, now Claude has the tools available to do this operation. Earlier it was not having such thing. So let's do this. So here you can see that it is trying to do this operation and it is asking the permission as well. So this is what the sampling and the root permissions will do. Okay, so it's just trying to do the sampling request, that what you are trying to allow, and you will be able to see that it is trying to do run list images from MCP server Docker. Okay, and I will just allow this particular for this chat, and you can see that it has done the operation and it has listed all the different Docker images within my system. Okay, and if we want to verify it, what we can do is we can just go here, and what we will do is we will just do Docker images, and you can see that I have 3 images, that is the PG Vector, Google IO and CLI. Okay, so you can see with versions and everything, with size, all the informations are available. Now if you want to build images, if you want to delete images, all those bunch of different operations that you want to do, we can do all sorts of things using this tools available within my MCP Docker server. Okay, so this is how we can connect different servers and different clients to make sure that our client and host are smarter enough, our LLM models are smarter enough to build and do actions as well. Not just generating some text or images, but now it can perform the actions for you as well. So I see a lot of potential in the coming months that a lot of different MCP servers and a lot of different supports will be added to it, and I'll be looking forward to it and how it can help us in the future as well. I'll be also playing around with this and try to build some of the applications, and I will try to share that as well with you so that we can learn all together about this MCP and how we can build the MCP servers and client. One of the disclaimer that I will tell is that do not share your confidential information yet, because we don't know how your data has been used yet, right? So it's generic that if you're using any of the AI model, do not share your confidential information, no private data or anything. But this is a great way to add the functionalities to your LLM models. So that's been it. I wanted to share with you regarding the MCP, the architecture of it and how it works internally, and how you can start using the MCP within your system as well. If you like this video helpful, then give us a like and subscribe to my channel for the upcoming videos. You can also click on join button to join my channel and support me. I will see you in the next video. Till then, happy coding. Bye bye.